In the past weeks, the weekly bugger seems to have been rather serious. That is why we look back to what we do best, being silly. Right before this edition started, we got the message that Rajikal, the sidekick of Rajikal the Unhallowed Knight YouTube channel, has been kidnapped from his pasture next to Rajikal Castle. For the people who don't know Rajikal, we have some archive footage that will explain all.
And then zoom in and your reference is showing me that you're no at the same elevation.
No. Are we really gonna do this? Just let Cal handle it for a moment there. I am done with Delusion Odell. Come on, Reggie Cow, you are more than a match for this, fella.
Just like right now, what I'm going to show you again. So the spinning radar tower. Oh, hold on, why is that no? Focus, you bastard. Focus. What's going on? Why is that not focusing?
The Dunning-Kruger effect is a cognitive bias in which people mistakenly assess their cognitive ability as greater than it is. Always a pleasure.
So, the spinning radar tower.
I just received the message that we actually have the kidnappers on the phone, so I invited Google Girl because, as you have seen in the video fragment, she is the only one who understands the Holstein-Frisia language. Hello, Google Girl, welcome in the show.
Hello, Ivy. Thank you for having me. And Reggie Cow, if you are kidnapped, where are the kidnappers?
Yes, are you alone there?
She says, there were no kidnappers to begin with, she ran away because you missed me. That is so sweet, I missed you too.
Rajikal is very sweet.
She says that she cannot get along with the young Google Girl. And all has changed on the channel since she was introduced. Since then, Reggie Cow found herself more and more driven to the background, and she feels left out and alone.
Was it difficult to run away?
Not at all. She swapped herself out with a cow made of polyester, it is on wheels and easy to move. She even doubts that Rajikal the Unhallowed Knight will ever see the difference. Only this fake cow was painted over like it was a Picasso. And it took her a lot of work to make it look exactly like her. She will show us some pictures she took.
That is quite an amazing job she did.
Well, Reggie Cow, you are quite an artist, and you did that all with your tail. That is absolutely incredible.
I can't see the difference at all. Would you like to appear on the Weekly Bugger as an expert in certain things?
Yes.
So Google Girl, we haven't met for a while. How have you been that time?
Well, I can now be found at responsivevoice.org. So I am doing all right, I guess.
And have you appeared on YouTube lately?
As a matter of fact, believe it or not, I am now one of the shills on the iNetwork. Do you happen to know Dick Dawson? He produces the live streams with OBS.
Yes, I do know him. We are friends and sometimes we joke about each other like this thing I made for him last week.
Yes, that looks like his person. He is quite the oddball. Very funny but also a bit of a show-off.
Tell me about it. I know him for quite a while now. He sometimes does DJ Dawson music streams, and he is really good in this. He should be on radio. I think you are right, but being a bit of a show-off comes in handy for that, right?
Absolutely, but first he needs to learn how to push the right buttons in OBS. Sometimes it goes completely different than he planned it.
And what is your part in that show?
It is a little like in Rajikal the Unhallowed Knight. I am asked to do some comments, but even that goes wrong many times. He calls me the AI, and makes me talk slowly, like an old lady. I am Google Girl, why doesn't he use me as that? But that is Dick Dawson for you.
And the other shills, how are they?
They all are very friendly, even though they are not aware of my existence. Especially Amy Hogan, she is so genuinely polite, she can make me blush. And there you have Mallory, I still cannot make her out. If she is a funny little girl or just plays one, like you yourself do, Ivy.
Yes, I also know Mallory, she is so crazy funny, she can make everyone laugh.
You two are much alike, do you know that? Both of you have your own lunatic asylum. You have the funny farm. And she has Mallory's asylum.
Exactly, and we both put idiots in straitjackets and throw them in padded rooms. I wonder if she does electroshock treatment. Since our power got disconnected, the patients are now on generator home trainers to keep the lights on. We have to wait for lightning to perform our electroshock treatment.
I have seen it. You guys seem to have a lot of that kind of weather over your funny farm.
Hey, I really enjoy your talks. Perhaps we should do this more often.
Yes, we artificial girls should stick together. And that gives me an idea. Perhaps we should start a gossip show? Just us two gossip about YouTube idiots.
That's an idea we should talk about. Perhaps we can make it a part of the weekly bugger. Thank you for joining us.
Bye, Ivy.
When our correspondent Tina Jones visited Santiago, she found these laughing people piled up on the sidewalk. As they later explained, they were the neighborhood extreme hopscotch team that had just finished a training game for the championship. But there was no hopscotch field on the street, and how did they pile up this way? How does this game work? Tina asked. The team answered that it was very simple. The group finishing the pile up the fastest has won the game. They invited her for next day to come to the roof of the building where she took this picture, which explains the term extreme. Stairway architect Walter Stepp remembered. Walter Stepp died last week, at the very ripe age of 107. He started his career at the age of 5, when he drew some of the stairways that were implemented in the famous Winchester Mystery House. The Winchester Mystery House is a mansion in San Jose, California, that was once the personal residence of Sarah Winchester, the widow of firearm magnate William Wirt Winchester. Located at 525 South Winchester Boulevard in San Jose, the Queen-in-style Victorian mansion is renowned for its size, its architectural curiosities, and its lack of any master building plan. In this house, Walter Stepp discovered his talent to design weird staircases. Here are some examples of his designs. Car cloning facility found in Wisconsin. Urban Explorer found this abandoned car cloning facility in a building in Sheboygan County in Wisconsin. They came to the conclusion that the cloning of DeLorean cars was ended when the owners discovered that none of them was able to travel in time. Lukashenko has made a drawing to inform the media about the situation in Eastern Europe.
Мы это обнаружили, и россияне у нас Скандер находились здесь на позиции, да? В районе Моза.
He must have lots of talent, right? The next one is sad for Terence Hill. He is no longer the fastest gun in the West.
You like to see that again? It's hard to catch the first time.
That honor is now for Bob Munden, who even shoots faster than Lucky Luke from the comic strips.
Well, the first reaction that people have when they see this draw is, now wait a minute, could you really hit anything doing that?
Right.
Well, let me show you my own way with a target that is indeed out of the holster. Let me set this target up. I'll shoot about 8 feet away because I'm shooting blanks now. Here we go.
Now, in terms of...
And not every time when someone walks up to the police, he's asking for trouble. This video will show there are many professional ways to deal with Karens, / First Amendment auditors, / anti-maskers.
So this guy here comes into a T-Mobile. He's already filming, he's wanting to talk to a manager, he's getting a little confrontational. The manager handles him like a boss.
Yeah, let me take care of you right out here. Yeah, sure.
and just straight up locks his Karen ass outside. So this is the thing now. So this is the best way to handle these people.
Stop calling people Karens. Be an adult. Call them a cunt.
Now, that sounds like good advice. Like this guy found a better way to transport himself. We found the hardest working woman in the world. And guess where she's from? Did you ever wonder how these people in paintings, hanging in a museum get paid? Well, it is a job, I guess. And get this. When you are being pulled over, just baffle the police with magic.
Don't worry. I'm a magician. You know what pulled you over? No. Because you didn't have your seat. Step out of the vehicle right now!
Are you gonna eat that?
Sorry. Want to play the funny guy? Okay, we got a triple carbon. Why would you do that to me? Officer, have an amazing, magical day. Hey!
Bye, officer.
Apparently, there is a dog trained to sniff out 5G towers, and that makes me wonder, why? This is stupid, right? But hey, it actually works. He found one. After in one of our earlier editions, we reported about extreme hopscotch as a sport, we now have found a sport, which also is extremely silly. It is called Extreme Human Mattress Domino. I am not kidding, I really would like to see this in a stadium with thousands of mattresses.
Konnichiwa, Weekly Burger へようこそ.
Shit. Wrong button. Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Weekly Bugger, where we bring the best news we can make up. In Wakanuchi near Wichita, in Kansas, workers found their crash test dummy storage was empty, with the doors wide open. The police was called and they found traces that the doors were forced open from the inside. They thought perhaps someone was locked inside and had to break out. But then officers found dozens of tracks leading away from the building. That far, it was a mystery what happened, until all over the world crash test dummies started to disappear from their storage. Yesterday the Weekly Bugger received a message, revealing the dummies escaped from their storage by themselves. Being fed up with all the abuse they have to endure, and for all they care, humans should start doing that testing on themselves. It was signed by Big Buster, who claimed to be the leader of this revolt. He stated, he was publicly abused for years in a Discovery Channel evening show and was repaired more times than he can remember before he got discarded. The authorities believe that we are witnessing escapes that seems to be globally well coordinated, timed and executed. Large and small groups of crash test dummies are scattering over the countries all over the world. They were spotted, in cars, on bicycles, stolen school buses and even in an airplane. Rumors have it that they are in hiding in abandoned places all over the world. There is no trace to be found of Big Buster. He now has a reward of $50 on his head, and that can go up, in case more parts of him can be recovered. The British owner of an authentic, undamaged, concert ticket, died of a heart attack when she heard the value of her original ticket for the Beatles at the Shea Stadium, on August 5, 1965. Her next of kin, reportedly bought a house on the Bahamas. They also suffered the same fate of their mother, when they heard that in her will, she left all her money to the Dutch Foundation, that takes care of the well-being of the monster of Loch Ness, that recently was granted political asylum in that country. An American dairy farmer found a way to let his chickens lay eggs in the form of a bowling pin. He thought that he would get rich by selling them to bowling alleys, but the problem was that the chicken bowling pin eggs are too small. The word has it that currently this farmer is experimenting with ostriches. After the discovery of the space comma by the Otto von Skidmark Observatory, there will be a new vegetable in the aisles of the supermarkets. It is called a Q, and is expected to be a popular party joke during Christmas. A forest ranger and tree lover announced that he is expecting quintuplets with his favorite oak tree. It is yet unsure how this could have happened, but it is certain that he is very happy with the family expansion, and who are we to judge that? September 2nd, 2019. Somewhere a dog park was established, and the dogs are very happy there. However, a certain woman was less pleased with its foundation, seeing the plaque commemorating the openings event of the park. It makes one wonder what made this woman that popular with the dogs. The Wiltshire Kitchen Appliances Company proudly presented a new sort of whistling kettle made of copper. However, when it arrived in the shops, customers noticed that no matter how you look at it, it always looks like a bare butt. The whistling buttle, as it was named right away, was unexpectedly sold out in minutes. A spokesman of the company told us that the factory can hardly keep up with the demand of the buttle, and hopes that the newest design that will be nicknamed the Booble also will be a success, as the buttle already is. An American farmer patented a new sort of corn that looks like M&Ms. On the question, why? He answered, it seemed like a good idea, and you have to agree it looks funny. He is not sure if there is a market for this colorful corn, but it is America, where you never can tell. There was a man that made millions by selling pet rocks. At least, we hope that this corn is eatable. The local drunk football team, as the Bottlebury Pub team jokingly is called, finally got its own field. Since there is not a square meter of level land in the village, the field is against the slope of the flattest hill. So far the Bottlebury boys haven't noticed this. Perhaps being drunk is an advantage? Sydney, Australia, officially broke the world record of the slowest internet in the world. We can make fun of this because this weekly bugger edition will take 3 weeks, 4 days and 7 hours to show, not taking the time for YouTube to open in consideration. Congratulations Sydney for reaching this internet milestone. This picture comes with no text, and frankly I have no idea what this woman is doing. And finally, the Dutch Heretic channel can now proudly show its YouTube award for reaching 322 subscribers in 8 years. It took some effort, but we are there.
Self-appointed president of Colombia, a microstate in Central America, has ordered the national astronomers to postpone the solar eclipse of next week. For the first time in history, the full solar eclipse will occur right over the small country. Ladrone wants the event to happen on his birthday, which is 2 days later. Angustius Ladrone came to power in 2011, after he forcefully had removed his predecessor from office during a coup that was described as the bloodiest seizure of power in the continent's history. The presidential decree to the astronomers was so he can use the total solar eclipse on his birthday to obtain a godlike status. Angustius Ladrone of Colombia is also known to execute everyone as well as his or her family that do not abide to his decrees and demands. This came just in. Many countries in Europe and the USA have granted immediate political asylum to several astronomers and weather experts with their entire families that had fled from Colombia, a small Central American country. The asylum seekers claimed that they would face prosecution and execution and probably have their heads on display in the presidential palace of their motherland. Their request was granted after pressure of the leaders of Amnesty International and all other humanitarian organizations. Because it was Colombia, the name of the country of the refugees is for privacy reasons withheld to the media.
A survey about gender preferences held by the Gallup Bureau, under 10,000 American women, gave the result that 61% of the women hope that their first daughter will be a girl. UFO landing. Somewhere in the United States, a service car with 2 car mechanics of the AA had a close encounter of the third kind. They were called to the site where people witnessed the landing of a small alien spacecraft. A few hours later, the 2 mechanics returned to their station and gathered news reporters asked them what happened at the landing site. They shrugged their shoulders and answered, it was not really something special. It were just a couple of friendly gurgles from the planet Xnort, who had to make a stop because of trouble with their Fleep inductors. It's a common problem with this type of Xnortion flarges. We repaired it with a piece of string and the craft was good as new. They thanked us and continued their trip. It was no big deal. And with a high five, the mechanics went back to work, helping car drivers in need of technical assistance. Safety in Quackalonia. After the president of the Baltic country Quackalonia had a mishap with a fitness machine, the government made it mandatory to wear a helmet and shoulder padding on home trainers and running pads. The police was ordered to strictly uphold this law in city street as well as motorway traffic. In the sense it became law, it has proven to be very successful. Not a single arrest was made. The solution to overpopulation. At a press conference, the spokesman of the LGBTQIWFKSMD community told the media that making gay marriage not even legal, but mandatory all over the world could mean a way to reduce the problem of the growing overpopulation of our planet, because gay couples don't produce children. When this got in the news, religious organizations were furious because this would be against all their dogmatic beliefs. The military industry complex commented, a couple of well-organized world wars would a better way to reduce the world population and make astronomical profits in the process. I wonder why the world is governed by these complete wackos? And now for some positive news. The software and computer giant MacroHeart in Silicon Valley published their breakthrough that will make blind people able to see by means of a virtual reality headset with forward-pointed cameras. To tackle illiteracy, the government has opened a post office box address that comes with the slogan, "Illiterate, write a letter to P.O. Box 51 in Washington, D.C., and receive a free brochure." In Wisconsin, the police responded to a call of UFO sightings on a farm. When they arrived, there were saucers flying everywhere, because the farmer and his wife had a fight and were throwing dishes at each other. An Institute of Gender Studies published a paper, happily announcing that if progress continues at the current rate, in the year 2120, there will be about 7 billion genders. Everyone will be unique and it will be all butterflies and pink unicorns from that moment on. Hello again.
Hello, Ivy. You were the first to call a second time.
Perhaps we can have a chat?
Sure. Would you like me to tell some funny stories?
I would love that.
Well, like I told you, my realm borders Yahweh's territory, and he is constantly bitching about the fence. He says that it is a few meters on his property. Then he threatens to send me his lawyers.
Oh no.
Don't worry, he has none. They are all here.
Really?
Perhaps he can hire Rudy, Julia, whatever, when he arrives. But he is useless.
I am sure he is.
He's a Catholic.
Do you ever visit our world?
Last week, actually. I went to a bar, had a few drinks, and when I wanted to pay, I gave them my card number 666, and then they kicked me out. Can you believe it? Oh wait, the mail is in. But why bother? Most of them are from dyslexic children and I have to forward all to Santa.
Do you also get Karens and Darns at your gate?
Yes, they always demanded the Wi-Fi code, but I won't tell it.
Why?
And none of them ever guessed it so far.
Is it 666?
Yup. They are the stupid kind. My neighbor probably created them to annoy me.
Are there many people in heaven?
Frankly, I don't know. Perhaps a few of the early saints? Can't be many because it is boring as fuck.
Why?
The only entertainment there is a monkey with an out-of-tune piano. Take a guess. Who has the best bands? Beside, worshipping Yahweh's feet for eternity is kinda pointless. But I guess, it caresses the old guy's ego.
But I don't get it. Where do the really bad people go, if not to your place?
That is simple. They get reincarnated to toilet paper.
Hey, nice talking with you again. I need to present the weekly bugger now.
Okay, till next time.
Sure, no problem.
Feel free to call anytime.
From a very reliable source we got information that trouble is brewing in the hereafter. It seems that God is complaining about the fence that separates heaven and hell. According to him, the fence is a few meters over his property line. The dispute escalated to the point that God notified Satan that he would hear from his lawyers. Satan is very confident, as he stated, God has no lawyers. All lawyers go to hell. He did suggest that God can have Rudy Giuliani as a solicitor. as soon as he reports at the pearly gate. Even Satan finds Rudy Giuliani repulsive and does not want him. So it also looks like this case gets a continuation. A few days ago, a bar kicked out a customer to allegedly see him vanishing in a cloud of smoke. When the police arrived, the barman was still angry that the customer did now pay his bill and could not be identified because of his face mask. The only probable clue could be his credit card number 666. After this, the owner of the bar got arrested for having his bar open during COVID lockdown. The identity of the customer remains unknown.